Tommaso here for T-News. As we approach the end of the 2021 season, it turns out that Tom was not a bad signing for the USMP team. After a terrible start, he turned things around quite nicely and the team have got a respectable mid-table position. I spoke to him earlier on to see exactly how he got on. We've got him here right now to ask him some questions. So, Tom, how did things go this season? How did he turn it around? Well, and I think that is quite enough from him. We don't want him taking all the limelight again. Hello and welcome back to Vamos to the Top. Hope you're all doing well and looking forward to today's bonus episode to say thank you for all of the support you guys have given to the series this week so far. You've absolutely smashed every likes target that I've given you. Views have been through the roof. It's been so nice to see that you guys are loving this series so much. It's always quite nervy when you make a new series, hoping people like it and things like that. But you guys seem to really be enjoying it, so thank you. And of course, if you want to carry on supporting the series, make sure you drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and leave a comment down below. Also, this video coming out slightly earlier because I am playing in the FM Streamer Showdown tonight over on Twitch. Link down to my channel in the description at 6:45 British time. I'm going to need all the help I can get on this one because Lelujo, he bet me £100 that I wouldn't draft a team where every single player's name is Tom. But I did it. The consequence of that is I've now got £100. The bad side of that is it's a very bad team. Anyway, focusing back on Vamos to the Top. Today, it's the end of the season. Turns out the season in Peru is not very long at all. We've raced through it and we're doing pretty well. Much higher than we were expecting ourselves to be this season. We've got 3 games left to play today, but we played 4 league games off camera, so let's talk about how those games went. We lost our first game to Alianza Lima like we thought. Both our main centre-backs were suspended for this game following yellow card infringement, so we lost it 1-0. But we did bounce back with a clean sheet and a great 3-0 win over Alianza Universidad, with Oliver getting this goal in the 12th, 20th minute, something like that. We then had 3 weeks off for international break, but given that none of our players play international football, I scheduled some friendlies and we won them 8-0, 7-0 against some random lower league teams. It was pretty easy, but it really helped us out as we got back to fixtures after international break because I don't think other teams played, so they were just not as ready or fit as us. As a result, we beat Ayacucho 2-1 and Gonzalez Vigil scored one of the goals of the season. Look at this. Oh, it's so nice. And then, despite all the odds, we actually beat Sporting Cristal 3-1. They were the much better team, but we FM'd them quite nicely, and Tuesta got a brace, which was lovely. And so, for the league table, well, in the second half of the season, we're currently 3rd, which is very, very impressive when you consider our start to the season, which was absolutely abysmal and is reflected in the overall league table, which is maybe a little bit more important, 10th. But that's not too bad to be fair, particularly given this team have not finished in the top 10 since 2012 in real life. So if we can secure a top 10 finish here today, we've made history. I'm also looking forward to the end of today's episode because we get to find out how the playoff championship system works because I really still have no idea. More importantly though, the youth intake came through, which was absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, we've got 3 real talents on our hands. I think Luis Navarro, probably the pick of the players there, a right-sided winger, a little bit lacking in some areas, but the key areas like dribbling, off the ball, technique, very, very high. And a similar sort of situation for Miguel Solis, a right-sided midfielder, so 2 good right wingers coming through. The issue with Solis is he's not particularly fast and crossing and dribbling is a little bit low, but he is only 16 years old, so we can't be too harsh on him, of course. And we do have a new keeper coming through in Willy Regia, or Riga. I can't know how to say his name properly, but you know, you guys will rename him soon in the Patreon, of course, because if you subscribe to a certain level on the Patreon, you get the chance to rename some players. So I've put these guys up on the Patreon. Go ahead, go and claim a player. I can't promise in 10 years' time they're going to be, you know, the first team players for us, sadly, but I'd like to think they could be, and maybe they will. It would be quite nice, actually, to try and build our team for next season around those youth players just a little bit, but there is an issue that I've come across as we head into the transfer window for next season. We are currently playing in the 2021 season. In Football Manager, you can only start in the 2021 season. However, we are playing on the January update that came out in February 2022 with updated teams and updated contracts. And obviously, as this league goes from like March to October, November time, the database that we have loaded is essentially the teams for the 2022 season, but we're playing it in 2021 because that's the only start date you have when you load up Peru. So what that means is all the players here have contracts for the 2022 season as they would do in real life. Like ordinarily, I assume all these contracts would normally run out in 2021. But because this is drawing from the real life information, it's using the 2022 to, if you get what I'm trying to say, essentially everyone's got a contract for next season already. And there's nothing we can do about it. Like, everyone in the team right now is here next season, apart from Gamara and Rios, because they have contract expiring in January, but they're not actually that bad. I'm tempted to maybe keep them. And naturally, that applies to every other team in our division as well. So no one, to my knowledge, at any club has an expiring contract this transfer window, which is a bit bizarre. So we'll work out what we're actually going to do in the transfer special when we get to the transfer special, but this first transfer window is going to be more difficult than it already was going to be. Although saying that, we are doing quite well in the second half of the season with this 4-4-2. Maybe with a full season of actually getting good results, things were better next time out. Now, we are going to be missing 2 players for the entirety of today's episode, and that is Marcos Delgado, our left-sided centre-back. He's out with concussion for the rest of the season, and Gonzalo Veron out for the rest of the season with a tight groin. And most frustratingly, he got a tight groin, or a groin strain I should say, got back to training, and then immediately did it again. So he's out for the rest of the season for 4 weeks. Obviously, that means there are some replacements in the team for them, but for the most part, the team is what you would expect it to be at this stage of the season. Solis in goal with Rodriguez, Rocha, a young 5-star centre-back in place of Delgado, with Gonzalez and Cordova in the back line. Ampuero, Tuesta, Moyano and Sandoval in the midfield, with Oliver and Gonzalez Vigil up top. So, Cienciano, the first team we are coming up here against today, and although we're not really playing for much this season now, what I would quite like is to get some nice results to impress me for next season. Like, we are going to try and replace some players in this team because we do need to make some improvements, but these are the final chances for some of these players to impress me, which I'm very excited about. I should also point out as well, Oliver just on the ball there, he's a player on loan. Obviously, he's got a loan contract in real life, so he's also on loan at the club for us next season in-game as well, as are all our loan players. So really, the team, doesn't need to change that much. But obviously, we are going to have to make some changes and bring some new people in to just improve us a little bit more. But as Cienciano come forward, they're one of the only teams that we actually played twice this season. We played them in the first half of the season in that sort of initial group thing, whatever it was called. I can't remember now. I'm not entirely sure why they do that. Is it a regional thing? I don't know, because I'm pretty sure we're based in Lima and other clubs who are based in Lima were in the other group. So I really don't quite know how they work it out. Will it be different next season? We'll find out next season, won't we? But in the meantime, we are looking to come on the attack right now with Tuesta getting the ball to Moyano. Forward towards Gonzalez Vigil, just tackled at the last second. And Cienciano looking to bring it out from the back as they play it over the halfway line. Wood in the air by Gonzalez, down to Tuesta, into Oliver, out to Ampuero, who can deliver a ball into the 4 bodies in the middle and hit none of them, frustratingly. But at least Sandoval gets the ball into Oliver. And in the end, we grab a goal. Oliver's 9th of the season. Also, very surprising that both us and Cusco, in real life, are teams that were right down in 16th and 17th. They're right up in 2nd and 3rd right now in game. So with about 12 minutes or so to go, we've not really seen anything in this second half, which is fine by me because we are cruising to a 1-0 right now. But hopefully we can make it 2-0 as the ball to Oliver over the top is great. Can he get to 10 goals this season? Not quite. But Tuesta can put that over the bar. Okay, cool. By looks of things, we have secured the 1-0 victory here today. You'd love to see it. You see, now we've got 3 weeks off again, and I imagine it is for international break of some sort, isn't it? So, just to keep players fresh, I will schedule a couple of friendlies. But in this interim period where we aren't playing games, I want to talk to you guys about a new way of scouting that I've kind of stolen off RDF, and I think Zealand might have done a video released earlier on today as I record this on it as well. Also, we are rocketing through these board objectives, finishing the top half, easy, 2 years ahead of schedule. But essentially, it's actually using stats to find players, and I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm honest with you. But essentially, rather than using stars, you use actual player stats, which seems baffling, doesn't it? Why do you use those? But there's a huge view here of loads of interesting bits of information, and then if we also go into custom filters like strikers, goal scorers, there's then all of this stuff to go through. RDF's put a lot of time into this. So I'll link his video on top of the screen right now. Go check it out if you're interested. But we're going to try and do a bit of this season. And immediately it's highlighting that this guy, who I think we've got scouted out, has scored 26, 27 goals this season. 27 goals. That's mad. But the scout report says not very good. But, 27 goals is 27 goals. But that's not in Argentina's top flight. So if we look for players who have had this season, for example, at least 20 appearances and their shots on target ratio is 50%, well, that's still brought back 147 players. How about an XG of at least 20 across the season? That's too high. 10 across the season. Only 5 players. And then you can see that these are sort of players that maybe we should be looking at. Issue is none of them are Peruvian, and that's going to be an issue, obviously. Because as per the rules, there must be no more than 5 foreign players in the whole squad, actually. It does say playing 11 there, but I think it actually does mean the entire squad based on the registration stuff I've looked at. But I just thought I'd briefly show you that, because I think that might be a really interesting way for us to try and sign some players, and also to check out RDS video as well, because I thought it's fantastic. Also, not entirely sure how our under-19 team haven't qualified for what we need to qualify for here, because they are 16 points clear of 5th place, but looks like they're doing quite well. But a big 7-0 win in that friendly just then. We won the first one 6-0. Oh no. Okay, there's always a risk of injury. There's always a risk of injury when it comes to playing friendlies. And Sandoval is now out for 6 weeks with a twisted ankle. That's frustrating, given that he's been absolutely superb this season, one of our best players. Luckily, we're right at the end of the season, and it doesn't quite matter too much. But as you can see in the top right, 6-0, 7-0 wins, very comfortable against these random teams. And now Tuesta's picked up an injury in training, 4 to 6. I mean, I'm glad these injuries are happening at the end of the season when we don't really need to worry about, having our best players available. Like, we've been very lucky, actually, throughout the entire season without injuries. Okay, then. So, for the game coming up then, against Cantalao, we've got 3 players missing. Tuesta, Sandoval, Rocha. Well, Rocha will just swap with... Marcos Delgado's actually coming back. Let's get Marcos Delgado back on then. Tuesta will come off for Gabriel Delgado. So we'll have 2 Delgados in the team. And then Sandoval will come off for probably Espinoza. So hopefully we can grab another 3 points here today with a strong finish to the season. Hopefully once again we're going to see that those friendlies are going to massively help us as Josu Rodriguez gets his first goal of the season but opens up the scoring here today. Also, tons of our fans have turned up to this one. I saw as more fans miss away end than we get in our home games. This seems a little bit bizarre. We must have more away fans here than home fans by looks of things around the stadium. It looks very sparse for the Cantalao fans. But, we were saying earlier that, maybe we can't make signings or as many signings as we want to because we can't get rid of as many players as we want to. Maybe we don't need to. Like, the system we've got right now, the second half of the season, we've been superb. Like, 1 or 2 good additions to the team. You never know. Like, magical things could happen. Stranger things have happened. We've obviously got a system that just seems to work quite well with the players that we have. Obviously, bringing other players in. We've scored somehow. I mean, the keeper moved very weirdly then. You see how glitched out his movement was, but Virgil gets the second of the game and we are running rampant right now. Well, let's show it on the replay how weirdly the keeper moved, because this is obviously that cleared into the head of Virgil. Yeah, the keeper moves so weirdly, but doesn't help him out at all. So, thanks, game. So as I was saying, maybe we don't need to make some big wholesale changes to the team. We've got this formation now. Maybe it's a case of just fine-tuning it, the 1 or 2 additions, and we could be there for a top 4 place next season. My phone vibrated. My sister's coming home today and she might need letting in the house because she's not got her keys come back from uni. So I just went to reply to a text. And they've got a penalty, which they have scored. She wasn't even home. Wasn't even her, by the way, so it was pointless. But I tell you what, I think we've had a very solid first half there. If the only goal we're going to concede is a penalty, I think we're doing something right. Well, I think we all saw the 2 feet that went in there, didn't we? We'll just go for a one-striker system now, I think. I mean, why do that? Why do that? He's compromised the game now, and he's got himself banned for a while, and it just made no sense. In the middle of the pitch, under no real pressure, just after half-time, we're dominating. He decides to just jump in with 2 feet. Why? I don't get it. I mean, since we've gone a man down, Cantelau have been all over us. They look very, very good now, and they are gearing up for a second goal, which I think they're going to get at some point here. Even though we haven't... See, there it is. There's that second goal I was telling you about. Even though we've not changed things much going forward, like our defensive shape is still the same, somehow we are just under so much pressure. So now, all of a sudden, we are fighting to get a point out of this game, and it's not looking likely as... Rain has been put through, pushed wide by Cordova. Good defensive work from him there. No penalty. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness there was no penalty there as Espinoza now brings it out to Gonzalez Vigil, into Moyano, back to Espinoza, into Moyano, back to Cordova. Come on, lads. We need to do something nice with this. Please. I'm not asking for much here. I'm really not asking for much. Well, turns out we can concede more than a penalty in this game. Turns out we can also lose it. Well, thank you, Gonzalez, for the red card. That really ruined things for us, you prick. But with the final game of the season coming up, wow, it's come through quickly, hasn't it? It feels a little bit lacklustre, not really playing for anything at the end of this season. But it does feel like... It feels like we have progressed a lot this season, and it feels like we're kind of just waiting for a reset so we can be dominant. Although watch all the other teams strengthen over summer and they get some great players coming in and we struggle. But this is your moment now. Let me know in the comment section below who you think has played well this season, who's not played well this season, and where we need to strengthen. So obviously Gonzalez is suspended. Let's get Rocha back on the pitch for this one, shall we? As for the rest of the team, Gonzalez, Veron, not quite fit enough to play. We'll put on the bench, shall we? But other than that, here's the team for the final game of the season. Watch this game be like the most boring 0-0 you've ever seen in your life. Or maybe we're going to get some goals as Gonzalez Vigil plays through Oliver, who can't quite chip the keeper. Corner ball then, and Puero puts this one into the middle, and it's... Oh, Gonzalez Vigil's header straight at the keeper. Really good effort from him. It was on target, but the keeper makes a solid save. And actually, this should not result in a 0-0. I've just seen the match stats. We've had nearly 10 shots in this first half already in 19 minutes. Surely there's going to be some goals in this game from somewhere. And it could be Oliver right now as he beats 2 defenders over the bar. I mean, I just want to see someone get a hat-trick. I mean, I don't think any of our players have got to 10 goals yet this season so far. I mean, Espinoza certainly has not. That's only his second of the season. I can't remember if Veron is sitting on 9 or 11. I think he's just one side of 10. Obviously, we know that Oliver is on 9 goals. I think Virgil is on like 6, 7. Oh my god, I was spot on with all of those as well. I knew I was spot on. 11, 9 and 7. But I might rephrase what I said at the start of the episode. This might be the most boring 1-0 you've ever seen. No highlights so far in this second half whatsoever. And I'd quite like to keep it like that. Because as the clock ticks down, we've won it comfortably. And comfortably 3rd place in the second half of the season as well. I mean, Universitao are like just on another level. Us and Cusco are right there in 2nd and 3rd. And then everyone else sort of behind us. We've had a phenomenal second half of the season. Oh, and because he scored a goal, Espinoza's agent wants him to have a new big contract. No, of course not. Ask Espinoza to sack his agent immediately. Get rid of him. And he says, yes, I will do, thank you. You're not getting a new contract here at all. Well, until I realise you've got like 5-star potential or something like that. Anyway, I'm quite interested now to find out what happens in the next part of the season. Right. So there's a semi-final going on. Champions playoff semi-final. But who gets this? It's a 2-legged thing. So the 6th of November, the 20th of November, And then the 4th of December is the relegation one. But I thought 4 teams got into the whole thing. I'm so confused. Either way, we've got a season review right now, which is very exciting. We didn't make any of these signings, but you know, it's good to know that some of these signings did quite well, particularly Oliver on loan. Pretty pleased with him. This is where things are a little bit different for us. So, we've come 3rd in the second half of the season, but overall, 8th. Which is pretty good, top half. I mean, imagine if we did better in this first half of the season, better than 4 points. Like, we could have been absolutely fantastic. Moments to remember, a big 4-3 win. That was a nice one to score some late goals in that one. Our goal of the season was Ampuero's 3rd-minute goal. I remember showing you this goal. Can I click watch it somewhere? Yeah, remember this one. It's so nice. Ampuero gets the ball out wide, then the ball gets played into the middle, and he just... he chips the keeper from that sort of angle. It's amazing. Financially, things have been quite good, I feel. Like, we've been in nowhere near debt or anything like that, so it's looking quite good. And the best team is kind of what you would expect. It's kind of what's developed. But interestingly, Sandoval with the highest average rating. So the young 19-year-old has done well. So are we now going to get some sort of, like, you know, board stuff or anything like that? Are we going to be told budgets? I mean, we still need to sign players from the Ivory Coast. We need to work on that, but everything else here looks pretty acceptable. Also, we get to go on a training camp. Where are we going to go on a training camp? I reckon rather than going to Spain again and costing us loads of money, let's go to Argentina this season. Let's go to Argentina and see if we can beat some South American rivals. Now, if I'm honest with you, I'm not going to sit through here until mid-December to find out like who wins the semi-finals of whatever thing is going on right now in our league. But the 6th of November, the first leg is being played, so at least we'll be able to see the results from the first leg, as we've signed some of our scholars, which is fantastic. You love to see it. Hopefully some of you guys are going to rename some of those players, because it will make it much easier for me to pronounce, as Ayacucho and Sporting Cristal are about to play each other. I thought the game had frozen then. Who's going to win this first leg? Sporting Cristal easily. I'm still very confused as to... Or is it Ayacucho playing Sporting Cristal? And then the winner plays Universitario? I need to learn to say that name properly. I need to learn. I'll report back to you in the transfer special. In fact, I imagine we'll actually see it in the transfer special, because I'm sure we'll come back to the transfer special. How many times can you say that in a sentence? In like a couple of days' time, in game, I should say. Because I want to get scouting done early and plan things out early. But thank you very much for watching Season 1 of Vamos to the Top. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're around it, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time, have a good one. Goodbye.